I didn't expect things to end up like this. Daisina now feels that he is stealing chickens and losing money. Konoha's mission rewards are not small. As the default strongest ninja village in the ninja world, there are countless tasks received every day. When the market conditions are too good, the price will naturally rise. Konoha's mission rewards are the highest among the major ninja villages. It is even 1/3 higher than the average salary per task of the other 5 major countries. Even so, there are still many people who like to go to Konoha to release tasks. After all, Konoha is guaranteed. Even if a mission fails, Konoha will send a second group of stronger ninja teams to go there. If you fail 3 times in a row, you will give up the mission. The task rewards will also be refunded. The other ninja villages of the 5 great nations, the Land of Thunder and the Land of Earth, will refund the rewards for mission failures depending on the situation. As long as the Land of Winds collects money, no matter whether the task is completed or not, it will never be refunded. The Land of Water has just been unsealed not long ago, and there are very few tasks received, so I won't mention it for now. Okay, let's go. Kakashi made the decision and Dishonor sighed helplessly. It takes a lot of money to publish a mission in Konoha. The money needed for a B-level mission is already equivalent to the name of the whole country of Wave, and the money can only be earned by 1 month's labor. Thinking of this, Dasna felt a little pain in his flesh. Moreover, Kakashi and the others have to calculate the interest. If they knew it, they would not have released any C-level tasks to save money. It's useless to regret now, just be able to move on. I hope the road ahead will be safe, Dasna thought to himself. And at this time, Naruto suddenly did the same stupid thing as in the original book. Stabbed the back of his hand with kunai. This is how you express your awareness. Seeing this scene, Sasuke thought it was pretty good. Naruto's will is still very strong, although he is a little idiot. Not everyone has the guts to self-mutilate like Naruto. After little Sakura bandaged Naruto, the 5 of them went on the road again. But at this time, Naruto suddenly made an unexpected request to Kakashi. Mr. Kakashi, can you teach me ninjutsu? Hearing that he was at the forefront, Kakashi, who was appreciating the latest version of Intimate Paradise, froze for a moment. Then he looked back at Naruto. Ninjutsu? When Kakashi was wondering, he suddenly noticed that Naruto looked at Sasuke with a hint of envy. Although Sasuke is strong, Sasuke has ninjutsu that they can't learn. This made Naruto very envious. Just now Sasuke easily killed the sudden enemy again. A crisis was resolved, and Naruto also began to feel a huge gap. Ninjutsu. It stands to reason that if a ninja wants to learn ninjutsu, he can only go through the village. By performing tasks, in exchange for contributions to the village. Use these contributions to exchange for ninjutsu to learn and strengthen your own strength. And a ninja wants to learn ninjutsu through other means, or find a teacher. There is no other way. Mr. Kakashi, I also want to learn ninjutsu, and I don't want to be left too far behind by Naruto and Sasuke. Little Sakura also spoke with a blushing face at this time. Kakashi, who hadn't thought about it yet, heard what the two said. I probably understand that Sasuke puts too much pressure on them. So much so that both of them started to worry, if they didn't work hard, they might be completely thrown away by Sasuke in the future. A team cannot differ too much in strength from each other. Otherwise, it will be difficult to truly integrate into a whole. Looking expectantly at Naruto and little Sakura, Kakashi sighed, since you want to learn ninjutsu, let me teach you the simplest ninjutsu first. As he spoke, Kakashi took out 3 strange pieces of paper from his pocket and threw them to the 3 of them. There's even a Sasuke's. Let's test it first, your chakra attributes. What Naruto tested is the wind attribute chakra, there is no problem with that. And the small Sakura tested the water attribute chakra. The last Sasuke tested was chakra with 2 attributes of fire and thunder. This is exactly what Sasuke originally thought. Just right, now it's time for dinner. Let's find a place to spend the night in this forest tonight. By the way, I will teach you 3 ninjutsu, 1 for each. Sasuke froze for a moment, even himself. Seeing Sasuke's surprised look, Kakashi frowned instead. What's the matter? Are you surprised? Teacher, I have never been a person who treats one favorably than another. You are all my disciples, so naturally I treat you all the same. Kakashi said this in the hope that Sasuke would feel his kindness. In order to deepen the bond between several people as soon as possible. Sasuke nodded, thank you Kakashi-sensei, it's all called teachers, these things are naturally taken for granted. As he spoke, Kakashi glanced at Sasuke and the little Sakura. You are responsible for setting up the camp first, and then guard the surrounding area. I'll teach Naruto first, and I'll teach the next one later. Naruto was very excited. Mr. Kakashi, what kind of ninjutsu are you going to teach me? Hearing this, Kakashi smiled. A simple sea-level wind-style ninjutsu, wind-style, gale palm. In the original book, Naruto and little Sakura don't know much about ninjutsu. Sasuke, who is setting up the camp, is thinking that according to this situation, Naruto and small Sakura should be different from the original. It's not clear how helpful the change is. Naruto has learned wind style. And when it was little Sakura's turn, Kakashi also taught her a very simple water-style ninjutsu, water-style, Shui Lu Bo. The ninjutsu learned by both of them can be regarded as basic ninjutsu. But when it was Sasuke's turn, he naturally didn't want to learn any basic ninjutsu. Sasuke really likes a ninjutsu, it's lightning style. Mr. Kakashi, please teach me lightning style, shadow clone technique. When it was Sasuke's turn, Sasuke directly spoke about the ninjutsu he wanted to learn. Originally Kakashi wanted to take this opportunity to teach Sasuke Chidori, but unexpectedly, Sasuke made the request himself. Lightning style, shadow clone. The power of this ninjutsu is not too strong, but in critical battles, it can often produce unexpected effects. It is indeed a good choice, but I have another ninjutsu here, which is very suitable for you. To be precise, only you can learn it. Don't you plan to take a look? A ninjutsu that suits you well? Even only you can learn it yourself. With just these two sentences, Sasuke already knew what ninjutsu Kakashi was going to teach him. This guy's ninjutsu of fame, Reikiri. Of course, Reikiri is an improved version, some changes made by Kakashi according to his own situation. And what he intends to teach Sasuke is Chidori, which is most suitable for those who have Sharingan. But it's a pity that Sasuke will no longer be able to print Chidori. Although Kakashi wanted to teach him this ninjutsu, there was no need for Sasuke to learn it anymore. No, teacher, I am very interested in lightning style, shadow clone technique, and I want to learn this ninjutsu. Hearing this, Kakashi was also helpless. At the same time, I saw a new side of Sasuke, who is extremely stubborn. Okay, since you want to learn this lightning style, shadow clone technique so much, then I will teach you. But to remind you, lightning style, shadow clone technique is not so easy to learn. Whether you can understand it or not depends on you. The two were talking in the clearing, and Naruto, who was on guard, looked back in the direction of Sasuke and Kakashi. Just want to learn a shadow clone? What the hell is Sasuke thinking? Such a great opportunity, why not learn a little bit stronger ninjutsu? Although this shadow clone is a lightning style shadow clone is far worse than aggressive ninjutsu. Dasna on the side looked at little Sakura, and then at Naruto. Although the two little ghosts are in charge of vigilance, they just learned new ninjutsu from Kakashi. Now the two are secretly in touch. First of all, the first step is to clarify the order of the seals, and then we can talk about the formal start of learning. However, when the two were practicing secretly, suddenly there was an explosion of thunder and lightning in the distance. Lightning style, shadow clone technique, is a very risky ninjutsu, because once it is cast, it will consume half of your chakra. Although after the shadow clone is exploded, because it belongs to the lightning style, it can explode with lightning to paralyze the enemy. But chakra, which consumes half, cannot be used casually. So you should be more cautious when using this trick in the future. Speaking of which, Kakashi began to explain how the power of this move was enhanced. I want to enhance the lightning power released by the shadow clone after it explodes. It requires your control over lightning style to become stronger. In this way, after the lightning style shadow clone explodes, it will be able to explode with stronger power. After the explanation, Kakashi wanted Sasuke to go back and practice Not Mudra. Then practice for a few more days before trying to release. But the next second, Sasuke raised his hands and quickly made the same movement as he touched just now. The speed of seal formation is not as fast as Sasuke's release of other ninjutsu. But it has already made Kakashi feel that Sasuke doesn't seem like he just started learning this ninjutsu. However, the next second, boom, along with a puff of smoke, another Sasuke appeared beside Sasuke. Seeing this scene, Kakashi was stunned. This guy hit it off. Just watch yourself cast it once, and then listen to yourself say it again. It turned out to be such a success, Kakashi doesn't know what to say now. And Sasuke had a smile on his face. although this ninjutsu will directly consume half of chakra once it is cast. But Sasuke still feels that this ninjutsu is very good. Boom! Suddenly the shadow clone exploded, directly turning into lightning bolts. It seems that lightning style, shadow clone is not so easy to control when it is cast for the first time. Sasuke looked unhappy, ready to try again. At this time, Kakashi looked at Sasuke dumbfounded. He was sure that Sasuke didn't use Sharingan to copy his ninjutsu just now. At the same time, even if Sasuke uses the Sharingan copy, Sasuke's current Sharingan is only in the state of 2 hooks. There is no ability to copy at all. Naruto and little Sakura are also confused now. It is also learning ninjutsu. How could Sasuke successfully perform it after reading it once? Although the maintenance time is not too much, but the problem is that this already means that Sasuke has successfully learned ninjutsu. It's just that they are not very proficient in mastering it. When Kakashi wants to say something, Sasuke seals again, and the next second lightning-style shadow clone appears. Boom! Along with the white smoke, the same Sasuke appeared. But this time shadow clone did not disappear, but has maintained this state. Chakra is stable. What Kakashi was about to say just now, stopped in the next second. Stared blankly at Sasuke. It worked. It's only the second time I perform ninjutsu, can I already reach this level? Kakashi froze in place. This is even scarier than Sharingan. This is Sasuke's talent? Just taught him once, and then he learned it successfully? And it's only been practiced twice, how could it be so easy to master? Sasuke is simply the monster of monsters. Naruto is stunned now, so, have you learned it? After the little Sakura on the side was surprised, she felt a strong shock. Sasuke's body seemed to burst into light, the light of genius. It turns out that the geniuses in this world are really so terrifying. Just watched it once and practiced it to easily master a ninjutsu. Teacher, is this ninjutsu very simple? Naruto looked at Kakashi and asked. And Kakashi smiled lightly when he heard Naruto's question. Shadow clone is a forbidden technique, you know that. Of course Naruto knows, the only ninjutsu he has learned is the multiple shadow clone technique. Although lightning style shadow clone is not multiple, but even if it is not forbidden technique, it is definitely not so easy to master. Do you understand? In other words, lightning style shadow clone technique is also a ninjutsu that is quite difficult to master. However, such a difficult ninjutsu fell into the hands of Sasuke, and he learned it after watching it once and practicing it twice. Suddenly Kakashi remembered the time in the park. Take a look at what Sasuke said, and think about it for a while. Learning other people's taijutsu is very simple. Now it seems that Sasuke at that time was not joking. Open black lens bracket lightning style, shadow clone technique, getting started, close black lens bracket. 2 exercises to get started. Sasuke frowned, it seems that this technique is indeed not that simple. You must know that when you learned fire style before, it was an introduction. Lightning style shadow clone is really good, difficult. Compared to Sasuke, teacher, don't we all have talent? The gap is too big. Naruto has been hit and lost confidence. However, Kakashi looked towards Naruto this time. No, Sasuke's talent is very strong, but your successful graduation means that you are talented. Naruto couldn't believe it, but we learn simple ninjutsu, and we are not yet proficient in Linlianian. Sasuke learns more difficult ninjutsu, and he masters it after just watching it once. Hearing this, even the little Sakura was a little frustrated. Maybe they really belong to the untalented people. At this time, Sasuke lifted the lightning-style shadow clone, and when he came back to his senses, he saw that Naruto and Sakura's expressions were a little strange. There was a thick dead air on his face. It was like losing hope in life in an instant. Sasuke also understood what was going on, probably because he was intimidated by his talent. Don't get discouraged too soon, Naruto, little Sakura. Naruto, don't you have talents that others don't have? Sasuke's voice sounded, and Naruto raised his head when he heard Sasuke say that. He just curled his lips. Do I have any talent? Thinking that he was almost unable to leave his job before, Naruto didn't believe Sasuke's statement. So you're an idiot. Do you think everyone has your monster-level self-healing ability? And your multiple shadow clone technique is originally a forbidden technique. Why do you think it is a forbidden technique? You can use this technique recklessly. It means that your chakra is far beyond what ordinary people can compare. Said Sasuke glanced at Kakashi, in our 7th class, you should be the one with the most chakra. Hearing this, Naruto was stunned. He has long been used to the self-healing ability. But now that Sasuke said this, Naruto is also reacting. It is impossible for ordinary people to be like him. At the same time, for the amount of chakra that Sasuke said, he turned out to be the one with the most. Naruto couldn't believe it. He looked at Kakashi. Sensei, is what Sasuke said true? Kakashi nodded. Didn't you realize it all the time? Your chakra volume is indeed the most among the 7th class, even including me. Then teachers. Little Sakura was startled, and now she was even more scared than seeing Sasuke's terrifying talent just now. Because in this way, doesn't it mean that she is the only ordinary person in the 7th class? Sasuke has a proud talent, and his learning ability can be called a monster. And Naruto. The body is the physique of a monster, not to mention the pervert self-healing ability, and the amount of chakra is even more than that of the teacher. Let's not talk about teacher Kakashi, she is the only co-author of Class 7. Haruno Sakura as a normal person. I will not lose to your Sasuke. Naruto seemed to have regained a little confidence. Although he is inferior to Sasuke in terms of ninjutsu talent, but he is also stronger than Sasuke, so he should give full play to his own advantages. Only in this way can we catch up with Sasuke. Seeing the fighting spirit in Naruto's eyes, both Sasuke and Kakashi smiled. And little Sakura is very desperate now. It's completely unreasonable for me, an ordinary person, to team up with two monsters. Little Sakura's condition Sasuke also noticed, but to avoid trouble, Sasuke said nothing. You can't say that little Sakura is very talented in chakra control. After all, I have not yet started to practice climbing trees and treading water. Let's save this kind of thing for later when little Sakura finds out by herself. In the following time, Sasuke began to practice the lightning-style shadow clone technique every once in a while. After all, one clone consumes half of the chakra, and Sasuke doesn't have so many chakra to squander. Also set aside a part of chakra to deal with possible battles at any time. So you can only practice once in a while. On the other hand, Naruto did take advantage of the terrifying physique of his Uzumaki clan. After getting acquainted with the knot seal, the profligate mode immediately started. Crazy release ninjutsu. Although Guan Tian's talent is much worse than Sasuke's, the talent is not enough to make up for it. Although Naruto has not discovered the practice plugin of multiple shadow clone yet. But even Naruto himself practiced like crazy splurge all night. Wind style, Gale Palm was also successfully mastered by Naruto. In terms of progress, it is probably equivalent to the entry stage. Although little Sakura has not successfully mastered water style, Shui Lu Bo, but it seems that little Sakura is about to master it. And because of Chakra's unique talent in control, once small Sakura's water style is practiced, it will be stronger than Naruto's wind style. The next morning, the 5 of them set off again. If there are no accidents, we will be able to reach the country of waves today. Then this mission will come to an end, but, if there is no accident, it will be time for an accident. Taudi Zabuzan is about to show up. He didn't receive the news from the 2 Chunin he sent out yesterday, so it will be clear if he doesn't kill them. Most likely dead. Otherwise, it is impossible for them not to send him a message. In this case, Momochi is very curious. Who on earth killed the 2 Chunin he sent out? Konoha ninja. Kakashi and others have just entered the border of the Kingdom of Waves. Naruto practiced crazily all night, although chakra's consumption is no problem at all. But there is no cure for mental fatigue. The listless look now, if it weren't for the strong physique of the Uzumaki family. Ordinary people practiced like crazy all night, but today they can open their eyes, which is considered a miracle. And Naruto can still go on the road, and Sasuke is a little envious of Xiaoqiang's physique. However, although the current Sasuke is not necessarily a strong immune to death like Naruto. But the excellent physique will also make Sasuke become stronger as he practices. At that time, it is not impossible to compare with Naruto's Uzumaki family physique. Sasuke was thinking that after returning to Konoha, maybe he could find some taijutsu to learn. Among all Konoha's body arts, Sasuke also has a favorite move. I have to find that old man and learn that physical technique, Konoha Ryujin. Swish. Suddenly there was a sharp breaking wind sound behind him. Sasuke suddenly came back to his senses. He raised his hand and directly pushed Naruto and little Sakura beside him to the ground. In the next second, Kakashi also grabbed Dasna and jumped up, and then a black shadow passed through the middle. Crack. Hit the big tree in the distance directly. Look up, it was a huge long knife. Seeing this knife, the corners of Sasuke's mouth rose slightly. Beheading sword. The Peachland will not be cut again. Who am I? It turns out to be Konoha's copy ninja, Hatake Kakashi. A somewhat gloomy and deep voice sounded. Following the sound, a figure appeared at the beheading knife stuck on the tree trunk. The way to appear on the stage with a beheading sword. I have to say that Taudi's appearance this time is really cool. Little Sakura and Naruto got up from the ground. Looking at the person who suddenly appeared, a horizontal line was drawn across the opponent's forehead protector. This kind of forehead protector means that the other party is rebellious. Recalling what happened just now, if Sasuke hadn't pushed them to the ground, I'm afraid it has already been chopped off by the other side. And Kakashi took a step forward, protecting Dasna, Sasuke and others behind him. Don't cut the peach ground again. One of the 7 members of the Wukage ninja swordsmen, this time, it's difficult. Kakashi's expression looked a little dignified. Sasuke curled his lips. Difficult to handle? There are also people who Hatake thinks are difficult to deal with? Compared with Kakashi, Momochi no Zan, there is no comparison at all. Stand back and protect Dasna. This guy is not something you can deal with. Give it to me. Just when Kakashi finished speaking and prepared to fight with all his strength, Sasuke suddenly said, "Mr. Kakashi, let me try. I also want to know what level 1 am now." Hearing this, Kakashi looked at Sasuke in surprise. Sasuke is indeed very courageous to take the initiative to ask for a job at this time. But the problem is that the other party is not a small character. Sasuke is not the time to mess around. This guy is one of Kirikage's 7 ninja swordsmen. The strength should be on par with me, not equal? Seriously? That's right. Then it's better this way, then I can make more unscrupulous shots. I have a technique, and I have always wanted to find someone to experiment with it. But there has never been a suitable partner. Hearing this, Kakashi seemed a little hesitant. Because of Sasuke's meaning, he guessed something, and there is a high probability that Sasuke wanted to be the lightning style that broke out at that time. Lord 3rd Generation has explained that it is necessary to find out whether Sasuke's lightning style is Cloud Shinobi Village's lightning style chakra mode. If yes, then there is a problem, and this time Sasuke seems to want to use it actively, so there is no need for him to try to find a way. But the problem is that the opponent is a character who will never be cut again, and is not so easy to deal with. If something unexpected happens, even Kakashi can't guarantee that he can save Sasuke in the first place. He is hesitating, but if Taudi doesn't kill him again, he's interested. The Genin kid from Konoha dared to take the initiative to ask Ying to fight with him. Among other things, Dao Di Zai Bu Zan admired this courage very much. Although the other party was a Genin brat, Momochi Zabuza didn't pay attention at all. "Little devil, you are very brave, do you want to challenge me?" "Very well, I can give you a chance. It just so happened that my beheading knife broke a gap at some point, and now I just use your blood to repair the knife." Saying no longer, he turned over and grabbed the handle of the knife, making the movement of a gymnast grabbing the bar with one hand and spinning. Incomparably handsome, he turned his fist from the air and pulled out the beheading knife. Then it landed firmly on the ground. "Then I'll fight against Konoha's copy, Jonin, the famous Hatake Kakashi." Sasuke didn't pay attention to Zabuchi at all, but took a look at Kakashi. Kakashi exhaled lightly. "Is it really all right?" Sasuke nodded. "No matter how bad it is, it won't be life-threatening." "Then go and try." Kakashi agrees, and Sasuke doesn't have to worry at all. It was the first time he used this trick, and Sasuke didn't know if there would be any accidents. If Kakashi suddenly ran out during the fight, maybe an accident might happen. "So you have to say hello in advance." Sasuke stepped forward slowly. Naruto got a little anxious. "Sasuke, I'll help you too." As he spoke, he wanted to go forward, but was stopped. Kakashi's tone became a little serious. "Don't make trouble, Naruto." Being reprimanded suddenly, Naruto froze for a moment. Helping me is making trouble. What's your name, kid, for the sake of your courage?" "I will remember your name, Uchiha Sasuke." "Uchiha?" Momochi Zabuzan's expression is a little different now. "I didn't expect to meet Konoha's Uchiha. I thought Konoha's Uchiha was dead." The words that Momochi would never cut again made Sasuke a little unhappy. "Very good. If Momochi doesn't cut him like this, then Sasuke will be freer." Little Sakura was a little worried. "Teacher, is this person strong?" "Is it strong?" Kakashi smiled. Mist Shinobi Ghostman, if you don't cut the peach ground, you should be at the same level as me in terms of strength. With this answer, little Sakura can already understand whether she is strong or not. A ninja at the same level as Sensei, Sasuke-kun, is it really alright? Dazna is also panicking now. Hey, the other party is an adult ninja, is it really okay for you to let a kid go up to deal with him? Faced with Dazna's question, Kakashi didn't answer but just watched Sasuke's back silently. Speaking of which, you are the first person I use this technique to deal with. So before we start, let me tell you a little bit of information. My speed will become very fast in the future. Speed? No more laughing. Ha ha ha. Uchiha kid, you don't know me, Mist Shinobi. The most famous is the silent killing technique. In terms of speed, you kid is not qualified to be compared with this uncle. That's good. Sasuke kept smiling. He raised his hand and snapped his fingers lightly. Zzz. A flash of thunder erupted from the fingertips in an instant. Flashing thunder the moment Sasuke jumped, his entire body was covered by thunder. A split second, it even made people feel a little overwhelmed. When exactly was the lightning style activated? If you don't cut it, you will be in a daze. Crackle. A thick lightning burst out from Sasuke's body in an instant. In an instant, the lightning flashed continuously. I was stunned for a moment. What ninjutsu is this? Can it be activated without seal? And I've never seen anything like this before? But when he was thinking, Sasuke's figure still disappeared in the next second. A thunderbolt appeared in front of him at an extremely fast speed. The eyes that were no longer cut suddenly shrank. So fast, he suddenly saw the thunder and lightning flashing in front of him. That's not lightning at all, it's just the lightning trail left behind because the speed is too fast. Uchiha's imp appeared directly in front of him with ghostly speed. Boom! This punch directly hit Zabuzon's abdomen. While Zabuzon felt a surge in his abdomen, the lightning-style chakra was transmitted to him. Let his body be temporarily paralyzed, and in this situation, Zabuzon wanted to fight back, but his body didn't listen at all. The next second Sasuke returned to his original position. The whole process takes no more than a second at all. Even the lightning trail left in the air has not completely dissipated. And Kakashi is now dumbfounded. He stared hard at Sasuke, even directly revealing the Sharingan that has been covered all the time. His gaze was completely locked on Sasuke. He carefully watched the flow of chakra on Sasuke's body. And the terrifying speed just now, it's so fast, it can also be accompanied by a lightning attack at the moment of the attack. This is not Cloud Shinobi Village's lightning-style chakra mode. What ninjutsu is this? Finally saw it clearly, but now Kakashi feels very confused. Not Cloud Shinobi Village's lightning-style chakra mode, so what exactly is this move Sasuke is using? At this moment Kakashi was a little confused, although I don't want Sasuke's technique to have anything to do with Cloud Shinobi Village. But when I really saw it and confirmed it, the current Kakashi feels even more incredible. If it's not Cloud Shinobi Village's technique, then Sasuke's technique is. Damn boy. Do you still have some skills? Very good, I seem to have underestimated you. Although each attack comes with a certain degree of lightning-style paralysis effect, but judging from Sasuke's chakra amount and mastery of this technique, the paralysis effect is not too strong, and more importantly, the power of the attack is not too terrifying. Got hit once, but didn't take too much damage at all. He moved his hand lightly, wanting to make a seal. However, it was just a little movement of the fingers. Next second, bang bang bang, continuously attacking, Sasuke is like an incarnation of lightning, flickering around Zabuzon frantically. Every attack can let Zabuzon experience the feeling of being paralyzed by lightning. If you don't cut it, you can't react at all. In the blink of an eye, 7 or 8 bruises appeared. And Sasuke stopped just now, and tried his best to move his body to fight back. But in the next second Sasuke attacks again. Haifeng Zunli will automatically respond to the attack immediately according to the enemy's movements. The link of brain thinking is omitted, which undoubtedly makes Sasuke's speed even more terrifying. At the same time, lightning style stimulates fullness, which in itself speeds up the body's response. In the state of rapid speed, rapid wind and thunder, I am afraid that the entire ninja world, in terms of speed alone, is at the same level. There is no one technique that is faster than divine speed. After Kakashi revealed the Sharingan, he was able to see Sasuke's movements clearly. And the more he saw clearly, the more surprised he was. Because he felt that the moment Sasuke made an attack, It seemed that even Sasuke himself didn't react. This kind of speed even he can't defend at all. Quick. Too fast. At this age, Sasuke has mastered such ninjutsu. After that, as the age increases, the amount of chakra increases, and the strength and speed increase. Kakashi could already imagine how terrifying the technique would end up being. He swallowed silently. The lightning in front of him was still flickering. In 1 second, Sasuke can continuously launch 50 to 30 attacks back and forth. No part of the body is complete without beheading. Although Sasuke's attack power is still within an acceptable range for Zabuza. But being continuously attacked crazily, this kind of unilateral beating, even he couldn't bear it. Is this your Konoha ninja? That brat is too strong for sure. Dasna couldn't help but exclaim. The man who used the big knife before appeared aggressively, and he seemed to be difficult to deal with. But now he can only be beaten unilaterally by a child. It's just horrible. Naruto looked a little dazed. Is this the real Sasuke? The lightning-fast attack does not give the enemy any breathing space at all. It's not at the same level as us. Little Sakura also spoke. Boom. Zabuzan was attacked hundreds of times in a row. He also gave up resisting, and after giving up resisting, without any movement, Sasuke stopped instead. He doesn't know why, but now Zaibuzan is very eager to know a question. Zabucho, who was bleeding faintly from the corner of his mouth, looked up at Sasuke in front of him. What kind of technique is this? Sasuke had to say this question without him asking it. But since you ask, let me tell you, lightning style, Godspeed, blast and thunder. Sasuke spoke slowly. However, Zabuzan's complexion became even weirder. I've never heard that name. Of course you haven't heard of it. Sasuke smiled. The corners of the mouth rose slightly. Because this is a technique I developed myself. Develop it yourself. When Kakashi heard these 4 words, although Kakashi had already prepared himself, he was still shocked. Not to mention how broken Naruto and little Sakura are at the moment. Same age, same genin. Sasuke himself developed a terrifying technique. Even if they don't know the principle of this technique, judging by its power, it is definitely a ninjutsu of the forbidden technique level. Moreover, such a technique cannot be developed recently. In other words, Sasuke started to develop ninjutsu when he was in the ninja school, and he successfully developed it. Develop ninjutsu by yourself. At this age, develop ninjutsu by yourself. No longer talking, he laughed directly, as this Konoha's genius. At this moment, the heart that will not be cut is very broken, and he will meet the evildoer from Konoha. I was actually carried in the hands of a brat. Bujan is now ecstatic in his heart. The ninjutsu that Sasuke erupted just now is amazingly powerful. But the same consumption is certainly not small. Sasuke is now in a weak state, and it is time for him to take revenge. As a majestic mist shinobi, he is also well known in the entire ninja world. Just now being pinned to the ground by a genin brat and beaten violently, this is a shame and a shame. Now that Sasuke is weak, it's time for him to get his revenge. No more chopping the beheading knife in his hand, it shook slightly. In the next second, the paralyzing effect of the body completely disappeared, and a strong killing intent burst out from Buzan's eyes. Taking a step in an instant, he rushed straight towards Sasuke. However, the speed of not slashing in this second was extremely fast, and the blade of the beheading sword was about to slash straight at Sasuke's forehead. Oops! Sasuke is out of chakra. Kakashi's expression turned ugly in an instant. Rushed out quickly. I hope I can make it in time. Because of the problem, Kakashi is far away, and if he doesn't cut it, although the injury is not serious. But Jonin's prowess is no joke. For today's Sasuke, speed is difficult to deal with without the blessing of super speed. But Sasuke is not unable to move. One step, go straight back. Crack. A knife slashed directly in front of Sasuke, with great strength and the sharpness of a beheading knife. The ground was directly split open a crack, but if you don't cut and miss a hit, continue to attack. Go to hell. Brat. This time the distance is closer, and Sasuke has no way to avoid it no matter how fast he accelerates. And the next second, when, with the sound of gold and iron colliding, a series of sparks appeared in front of Sasuke. At the same time, a figure stood in front of Sasuke. Kakashi held kunai with one hand, and held up the beheading sword that was coming across. In an instant, there was a strong storm. Kakashi exhaled lightly, fortunately caught up. Since the chakra is almost exhausted, why not come back early? Hearing this, Sasuke also smiled helplessly. This technique is beyond my control. Your technique is beyond your control. Who can control it? Kakashi was confused by Sasuke's words. Lightning style, divine speed. Gale thunder, relying on lightning style to stimulate the body, so that the body can explode at an extremely fast speed, and all the movements are based on the opponent's movements, the first reaction produced. It's a reaction made by the body itself, and I don't need to control it, so just now chakra consumed too much, but in the end the body made too many movements on its own, and I have no way to release the state of super speed in time. Hearing this, Kakashi froze for a moment. There is such a technique. He is completely out of his control, and only relies on his body's automatic response to fight. But after thinking about Kakashi for a while, I understand. No wonder the speed just now was so fast that even he found it unbelievable. Moreover, Sasuke's attacking movements are very weird. It turned out to be an automatic reaction of the body. This means that it saves the time for the brain to react. Although this little time is not too long, it is the ultimate pursuit of speed. This little bit of time is enough to change a lot of things. Thinking of this, a drop of cold sweat dripped from Kakashi's forehead. He has developed an amazing ninjutsu, Sasuke. It may not be obvious now, but in the future Sasuke will continue to become stronger, and this move will become an extremely terrifying existence. I'm afraid that the title of the fastest ninja world may fall on Sasuke's head in the future. Speed, Sasuke. Kakashi, get the hell out of here, I'm going to kill this brat. No more cuts now have injuries all over his body, and he is no match for Kakashi in terms of strength. Kakashi looked up at him, and directly knocked him back with the kunai in his hand. At the same time blocked the front. If you don't cut it, one of our little ghosts from Konoha will hurt you like this. Do you still have the ability to continue fighting? Face me. Kakashi's voice was neither light nor heavy, but it made Zabuzon's face extremely ugly. Hatake Kakashi is not such an easy ninja. It is also at the top of the assassination list, and the difficulty of assassination is extremely high. What's more, now that I am injured, my state is not as good as before, and I want to compete with Kakashi in this state. Then the result is only to be completely crushed. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Unexpectedly, he, Mist Shinobi, would one day be in the hands of a kid. Still a genin. While Kakashi was a little distracted by not cutting, Kakashi was preparing for a one-hit kill. Facing an enemy like Zabuzon, Kakashi will not leave any way for the opponent to survive. One carelessness could put Sasuke and others in danger. This situation Kakashi absolutely cannot let it happen. And the next second was when Kakashi saw the right moment and was about to make a move. Crack. Suddenly there was an explosion, it came from behind. And the location, be in their direction in Naruto. Both Sasuke and Kakashi turned their heads immediately. The dust and smoke swept across, and Naruto flew upside down and hit the nearby tree fiercely. Then the smoke slowly dissipated. What appeared in front of him was a ninja who covered his body and face with a cloak. He grabbed Dasna, who had fainted, with one hand, while another companion was behind him. The kunai in his hand pierced little Sakura's abdomen. Blood flowed out quickly along kunai's blade. Little Sakura's face was pale. At this moment, both Sasuke and Kakashi were stunned. The guy who fell from the sky is really accurate when he catches it. Little Sakura. Kakashi's eyes darkened. He dared to do anything to his subordinate genin. This is completely neglecting him. I was stunned even if I didn't cut it. Who is this guy who suddenly appeared? Their target is also Dasna. What's going on? Could it be that guy Kato hired other ninjas besides me? With Dasna as the target, this is obviously the only explanation. Just when Byuzan was thinking about it, a strong murderous aura suddenly swept out. Zabuzon glanced at Kakashi in surprise. Are you irritated? Staying here at this time is not a good choice. Humph. Since there are other ninjas hired besides me, let you feel the horror of Hatake Kakashi. After Byuzan slowly retreated, he turned and left. Kakashi didn't pursue, but looked back at the two ninjas who suddenly appeared. Kakashi didn't chase after him anymore. At this time, one less enemy is naturally a good thing for Kakashi. However, the two ninjas in front of him put enormous pressure on Kakashi. Although the other party has not made any moves so far. But Kakashi suddenly felt as if he was being targeted by Lion Majesty. The opponent not only captured Dasna, but even small Sakura was also in the opponent's hands. And little Sakura seems to have lost consciousness. The abdomen was stabbed hard, and in this case little Sakura was bleeding profusely. According to the amount of bleeding, it won't be long before he will die. We must find a way to save little Sakura as soon as possible. But the guy who caught Dazna in the next second turned around and left without turning his head. One ran towards the forest with Dazna on his body. There was no intention of continuing to stay at all. Kakashi's face was very ugly, and the other party took away the person who needed to be protected in this mission. This also means that the task failed, but the task has been carried out until now, and it is no longer as simple as a B-level task. If one peach is not cut, the difficulty of the task can reach a level. As for the two ninjas that appeared now, although one had already left, the aura exuded by the other was also very strong. The opponent still held little Sakura in his hand, and Kakashi rescued little Sakura without knowing how to keep little Sakura safe. And at this time, he got up from the ground, although he was dumped in a mess. But Naruto's physique is not generally strong. Naruto recovered immediately. Watching little Sakura hurt, his eyes shrank suddenly. Little Sakura. Suddenly, a powerful chakra wave broke out from Naruto. The person who grabbed the little Sakura for a moment also shifted his gaze from Kakashi to Naruto. At this moment, Kakashi directly used a body flicker technique, wanting to rush over to save little Sakura as quickly as possible. But the next second he heard a rapid whistling sound coming from his ear. Boom! A strange shuriken passed directly across his face and landed straight on the ground behind him. The impact was so powerful that it directly smashed a small groove into the ground. Kakashi was also forced to stop halfway. The person who grabbed little Sakura on the other side looked at Naruto, whose eyes gradually turned red, and a red chakra surged from his body. He threw little Sakura away, and Naruto rushed up in the next second. Kick Naruto out with one kick. Kakashi hesitated for a second. At this moment Sasuke's voice sounded. Ms. Kakashi. Take advantage of the time. As he spoke, he passed directly beside Kakashi, and flew straight towards the enemy. Seeing this scene, Kakashi was taken aback for a moment. Why did this kid Sasuke go straight towards the enemy so calmly at this time? Isn't this sending you to your door looking for death? But the next second Kakashi understood. There was a smile on the corner of his mouth, and at the same time he stepped forward to catch up. Get ahead of the enemy first. With two bang-bang attacks, Kakashi felt his wrist hurt from the shock. The opponent's strength is astonishing, and the strange thing is that the body seems to be very stiff, even harder than steel. His two attacks just now seem to be bombarded on steel. Dodging the opponent's blow, Kakashi stepped back. And at this moment Sasuke jumped out from Kakashi's head, holding a kunai in his hand, and stabbed straight towards Kakashi's forehead. Next second, there was a cold light in the opponent's eyes, and he raised his hand and shot a strange weapon directly from his palm. Penetrate Sasuke's body. Naruto, who landed, just looked up and saw this scene again. Immediately, the pupils shrank rapidly. Sasuke. Boom. Naruto was hit on the head when he was in a daze. Idiot. What are you thinking? Go and see little Sakura. Hearing the familiar voice, Naruto froze for a moment, then saw Sasuke beside him. He froze. Sasuke, you. In the next second, thunder and lightning sounded. Sasuke, who was pierced through the body in the air, exploded and turned into lightning. Hit the enemy instantly. The short-term paralysis effect makes the opponent completely unable to move at this moment. Even if only for a moment, but this time Kakashi's Reikiri is ready. Sasuke did a great job. While talking, Kakashi raised his hand and Reikiri was already in his hand. Immediately speed up and rush up, and hit the enemy's heart with a straight stab with Reikiri. Enemies paralyzed by the thunder and lightning erupted by lightning-style shadow clone will be completely frozen and unable to make any movements at this time. I can only watch Reikiri attack, but at the last moment, the opponent's body moved slightly. Crackling, sizzling. The roar of thunder and lightning kept ringing. Kakashi's face is not very good. Oops, boom. In the next second, Kakashi's chest was hit hard by a shell. The body is so straight that it flies out. After spinning several times in the air, it slowly landed. After steadying his feet, he looked up at the other party. A hole appeared in the opponent's chest, but no blood flowed out. Instead, a white layer of periosteum appeared, and because of the last-minute body movement, the fatal position of the heart was avoided. Only suffered a small injury. Good, as expected of the person chosen by the adults. The voice of the other party seemed a little young, but he still couldn't see the other party's face. Kakashi frowned. Who the hell are you? Reikari, who was able to resist him with a shot, was only slightly injured. The weird defense on the chest made Kakashi wonder how the opponent did it for a while. What kind of technique can block his own Reikari? At this time, Sasuke brought Naruto, who had regained his sanity, to the side of little Sakura. Watching little Sakura's weak breathing, Sasuke looked at little Sakura's belly. Being stabbed by kunai, the blood was crazily flowing out from the wound. Naruto wanted to pull kunai out, but Sasuke stopped him. Do not pull out little Sakura to die faster. Naruto was stunned for a moment and chose to listen to Sasuke's suggestion. What should we do now? Sasuke looked up and met Kakashi's eyes. Take little Sakura away. Find a way to find someone to treat her. Leave this guy to me. Sasuke looked at the ninja in front of Kakashi. Who is this person? Sasuke really wants to find out the identity of the other party. After all, this is someone who never appeared in the original book. Who is this guy? But now little Sakura's situation is more serious. It's really bad if you don't know how to treat it. Naruto has already hugged little Sakura at this time. Sasuke, let's go. At this time, Naruto's eyes are all on little Sakura. Sasuke thought carefully, go east, cross the border of the land of waves and return to the land of fire. I remember that there should be a town of Konoha somewhere. With the ninja troops stationed, we should be able to find ninjas who understand medical treatment. East. Naruto glanced in that direction, however, there is one concern. Probably. How far? Are we still in time? Hearing this, Sasuke thought about it carefully. If you can arrive within half an hour, then you should be able to save. Naruto frowned, that Sasuke didn't go far. Half an hour's time. Can he make it there? Sasuke also has some regrets now. If he hadn't consumed so much chakra before and rushed on the road with lightning, he should be able to barely make it. However, at this time Naruto exhaled lightly. Leave it to me, Sasuke. I can definitely get there. Sasuke froze for a moment. What do you mean? Naruto smiled. Leave it to me, little Sakura, but Mr. Dazno was taken away. Since we have accepted this mission, we cannot give up Mr. Dishonor at will. I'm counting on you over there. After speaking, Naruto ran towards the east without looking back. Sasuke didn't want to save Dazna at all. If he really wanted to save Dazna, it's better to stay here and help Kakashi get rid of this person in front of him. Please host to ensure the safety of Dazna. The first mission is absolutely not allowed to fail. Complete to get a genin gift bag. At this time, the system stepped in and even gave a task. Sasuke exhaled lightly. If this is the case, then Dazna still needs to be saved. After all, this is the first time to go out of the village to perform a mission. If it fails like this, it will have more impact on the future plot. Changing the plot is actually not something Sasuke wants to see. Because Sasuke, who could have known the future, once changed too much of the plot. If things happen differently in the future, then the plot advantage he has will be lost. Call. That ninja is not slow. I hope I can catch up. Get a feel for the amount of chakra left in your body. The battle with Zabuzan basically consumed 9 out of 10. Then use lightning-style shadow clone. It stands to reason that Sasuke's chakra should have been consumed almost. But now doing Sasuke feels that chakra has recovered about 1/3. The more chakra is exhausted, the faster the recovery speed will be. But once a part of it is restored, chakra's recovery speed will slow down. 1/3 of chakra, Sasuke can barely maintain it for a few minutes if he just launches a flash fire. That way, he should be able to catch up with the guy who took Darzna away. Lightning style, super speed, flash, crackle. Lightning erupted from Sasuke. Immediately afterwards, it quickly swept in the direction of that guy. I saw a flash of lightning passing through the forest. Gone in the blink of an eye. Kakashi, who stayed where he was taken aback for a moment. Is this trying to save Dazna? Don't be brave, Sasuke. Even Hatake Kakashi will be punished for mission failure. Didn't his father encounter such a thing because of a mission failure? Now Kakashi is the same situation, choose a companion or continue to complete the task. It's a tough choice, but Naruto and Sasuke obviously want both. ZZZ. Lightning flashed continuously in the forest. He quickly chased after the guy who took Dazna away. Sasuke turned on the Sharingan state, and quickly caught the traces left by the opponent's movement in the forest. If it weren't for the matching and Sharingan, I am afraid that there is no way to track it just because of the flash. But a few minutes later Sasuke's chakra ran out again. The moment the flash was lifted, Sasuke was still in the state of telling to move forward. At the same time, the chakra in the body is recovering rapidly. In the same few minutes, a third of the chakra is restored again. The lightning flash started again, zzz, crackle. At the same time, a ninja somewhere in the distant forest was standing in an open space. Dasna beside him was still in a coma state, and he casually threw it under the tree. And through a unique perspective, he is observing Sasuke, who is chasing him with lightning speed. What ninjutsu is this? It can explode at such a speed, which is quite similar to Cloud Shinobi Village's lightning-style chakra mode. But this technique seems to only focus on speed improvement. But even so, it's amazing to master such a technique at this age. More importantly, he had never seen this technique before. Then there are only two possibilities. One is that this secret technique belongs to a certain place, and it has never appeared in the ninja world. The second is developed by Sasuke himself. He felt that the two possibilities should be the second one. Uchiha Sasuke, from the Uchiha family, even if it is a secret technique somewhere, Sasuke should not be allowed to get it. Then there is only one possibility: this technique was developed by Sasuke himself. If it is really developed by Sasuke himself, then Sasuke's talent is more powerful than he imagined. Come quickly. Let me see if you are suitable to be my container. At this time, Sasuke stopped 100 meters away from this place. The chakra in the body is almost gone. Sasuke found some changes in the opponent's footprints through Sharingan. It seems that the other party slowed down when they came here. It also means that the other party is likely to be not far away. In this case, you have to restore chakra first, otherwise you will not have any chakra in your body when you encounter enemies. How to fight? The other party has felt Sasuke. Seeing Sasuke, he stops and seems to be recovering chakra. Good vigilance. Chakra is probably halfway back. Sure enough, the improvement in battle is the biggest. Sasuke slowly opened his eyes, looking forward, feeling the amount of chakra in the body, although it has not fully recovered yet. But through the battle with Zabuzan just now, Sasuke found that his chakra amount had increased by about 1/5 out of thin air. And there are obvious enhancements in strength and speed. It was nothing more than a fight that gave Sasuke such a boost. It seems that the current self should fight more people besides cultivation. There are too many improvements brought about by the battle. Kurenai. There are 16 more, 20 shurikens, 1 detonating talisman, and steel wire. That guy's speed is so amazing, and his strength should be at the Jonin level. And it is likely to belong to the existence of elite Jonin level. If you want to kill him, I'm afraid it won't be so easy. Sasuke analyzed calmly. Chasing all the way, except for the break that took a few minutes, the rest of the time was all rushed. Such a speed is completely beyond Jonin's. Although it is not as terrifying as Blast Thunder, it is at least 2/3 of the level. But it took him so long to catch up, which shows that the opponent's strength is absolutely terrifying. Maybe even stronger than Mr. Kakashi. Sasuke moved forward cautiously. Concentrate your breath as much as possible, just after passing through a chain of bushes. Finally Sasuke saw an open field of moderate size. The trees here are very rare compared to other places in the forest. There are only a few trees as tall as 2 people. On the grass, under the shade of a tree, Dasna was lying there. And no one else around. This situation looks like a trap. And it's a blatant trap. This made Sasuke even more energetic. You have to know how confident you are in your own strength to deliberately stop, and set up such a detailed trap to wait for the enemy to come? This guy seems as if he was just trying to attract people. Deliberately capturing Dasna did not seem to be the opponent's goal. At this moment Sasuke was a little puzzled. If the opponent is a ninja hired by Kato, then there is no need to take Dasna away. Isn't it over if you kill the mission directly? Without the Daznash bridge, the land of waves will always be in Kato's hands. Why do you have to take Dasna away? Not good. This is the bait, just to make us chase after it. The moment Sasuke thought of that, a black shadow is slowly emerging behind him, and at the same time, a hand is slowly grabbing towards Sasuke's shoulder. At this moment, although Sasuke didn't feel the other party's breath, but he instinctively felt that danger was coming. Flash. In a hurry, Sasuke launched the flash fire at the fastest speed. The figure directly turned into a bolt of lightning and quickly jumped away. Directly into the open space. At the same time, he turned around and looked in the direction just now, and as expected, the other party was standing in his position just now. Sasuke frowned and immediately took out a handful of kunai from the ninja bag. The eyes locked each other firmly. The two-hooked jade Sharingan is slowly rotating. The other party looked up into Sasuke's eyes. What beautiful eyes. Could it be that the other party is here for your Sharingan? Are you kidding? There is no ninja in the original book who is eyeing Sasuke's Sharingan at this time. What is this guy? Suddenly Sasuke saw that the other party's body was like a snake, entwined around the tree trunk, turned and then accelerated. Jumped in front of himself. Now Sasuke understands. This guy is Orochimaru. What are you doing? Why is Orochimaru here at this time? And he captured Dazna just to lure himself to come after him. Unreasonable. In the original book, the big snake did not appear at this time. Besides, he waited for someone to take the task and leave Konoha, so there was no reason for Orochimaru to come to him at this time. Shouldn't he be busy preparing for Konoha's collapse plan now? Why did it suddenly appear here? Are you scared? Sasuke's face was pale, and Orochimaru felt that Sasuke was afraid of him. But when Sasuke heard this, he quickly came back to his senses, raised the kunai in his hand and stared at Orochimaru. This is quite bad. Orochimaru, this is Orochimaru. The strength of the opponent completely crushed him with ease. To defeat Orochimaru, Sasuke can't even think about it. The only way now is to escape with Dazna. If Sasuke had escaped alone, the lightning had started by now. Kodazina is still here. If he escapes like this, Orochimaru will be even more confused. After finally finding Dazna, he ran away without doing anything himself. Such an anomalous move will make Orochimaru even more in pursuit. But staying to fight, Sasuke is unlikely to defeat Orochimaru. It's a terrible choice. Do not. Even Orochimaru, I still have a chance. If Orochimaru is aiming at my body, then there is still a chance to give it a try. But if Orochimaru just wants Sasuke's eyes, then there's no way. Wait to die. Now that it's over, it's not Sasuke's style to give up on the spot. The left hand grabbed a handful of kunai again. Seeing Sasuke's action, Orochimaru smiled. Are you going to use kunai to deal with yourself? This brat is a little too naive. In Sharingan mode, the suzerain has stronger insight and stronger control over the body. Although it is just throwing kunai, Sasuke's kunai is not the same. The hands exploded in an instant, and all the 7 kunai in his hands were thrown out in an instant. For an instant, Orochimaru was also taken aback. The kunai thrown by Sasuke did not know what kind of weird technique was used to leave an arc in the air. And, in the next second, the kunai roots that collided with each other changed several times in a row. At this time, he was less than 2 meters away. At this time, Orochimaru was also unable to understand the changes of these kunai. What an exquisite throwing technique. But in the next second, Orochimaru directly completed the seal with both hands in an instant. Wind style, gale palm. The wind blade rolled up and bounced all the kunai in the air away. Sasuke's attack was directly brute forced. The next second, Sasuke appeared directly in front of Orochimaru. With kunai's cover, Sasuke took the initiative to post it. Even if he dies, he will have a few teeth broken before he dies. Boom, boom. With 2 consecutive punches, Sasuke's movements are considered very fast. The kunai thorn held in the backhand was easily avoided by Orochimaru with a tilt of his head. Then he raised his hand and easily grabbed Sasuke's fist. Feeling the power of Sasuke's attack, Orochimaru nodded in satisfaction. Yes, you can have such physical skills at this age. The current Sasuke is completely stronger than Xiaoli in terms of physical skills. The speed and strength are only slightly worse. Of course, it's just Xiaoli who didn't take off the weight. This level is already considered outstanding in Genin. And even the average Chunin may not be able to compare with it. Sasuke can't draw his hands out, although Orochimaru is not a particularly powerful ninja. But having experienced the war, and being one of the Konoha Sannin, with cage-level strength, it is impossible to be bad in terms of physical skills. Although it is not a strength, it is definitely not a weakness. With both hands unable to move, Sasuke borrowed strength directly from Orochimaru, and kicked towards Orochimaru's jaw fiercely. Orochimaru, who was talking, was interrupted directly, and Sasuke kicked his jaw firmly. But with Sasuke's power, it's impossible to hit Orochimaru with a single blow. Orochimaru looked up. The place where Sasuke kicked was red and swollen. But he has no major problems. Slowly lowering his head, he stared directly at Sasuke with sharp eyes. Nice response. In the eyes of the opponent, his own attack is like a child fighting. There is no threat at all, but a cold light flashed in Sasuke's eyes. You are really strong, and I have absolutely no room to resist in front of you. It's good to know, so are you going to catch him without a hand? Don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean I give up fighting. Orochimaru smiled. Sasuke has been firmly controlled by him, and he still wants to resist at this time? Even if you want to resist, there is no chance. Suddenly, Sasuke made a seal motion with his left hand. And this action is not to perform ninjutsu, but to activate the detonating talisman. Detonator? Where? Orochimaru looked around for the first time. However, the sound of the detonating talisman launching came from behind. The hissing sound before the explosion made Orochimaru quickly locate the detonating symbol. Behind my back. Boom. The explosion that occurred in an instant directly lifted Orochimaru, and Sasuke was also thrown away. Sasuke, who had been prepared for a long time, just suffered some shocks. Then he stood up quickly. At the same time, Orochimaru also got up from the ground, albeit a bit disheveled. But Orochimaru was not seriously injured. A mere detonator wasn't enough to hurt him. And Orochimaru looked up at Sasuke. When those kunai were thrown out, did you stick the detonating talisman? It's so fast that I didn't even notice it. Being escaped by Sasuke in this way, Orochimaru was not only not annoyed, but admired Sasuke more and more. This is a kid with full potential. And the more potential the other party has, it means that the other party is a more perfect container. Now Orochimaru couldn't bear it any longer, and wished he could imprint Sasuke immediately. However, Sasuke sensed Orochimaru's gaze and immediately jumped back. Then throw the shuriken again. In an instant, all 20 shurikens were thrown by Sasuke. Orochimaru did not choose to use ninjutsu to defend, but rushed directly to rely on speed and reflexes to avoid Sasuke's attack. Seeing the distance getting closer, the hidden weapons in Sasuke's hand were basically used up. At this time, Orochimaru suddenly accelerated and rushed directly to Sasuke. Do you still want to run? No matter how you run, it's useless. At the same time, the corners of Sasuke's mouth rose slightly. The left hand has already completed the mudra, and the one-hand mudra was not noticed by Orochimaru. Watching Orochimaru close at hand, Sasuke suddenly raised his left hand. Fire style. Fire dragon explosion technique. The flame that swept out in an instant turned into a fire dragon in an instant, sweeping madly directly in the direction of Orochimaru. The moment the flames burst forth, Orochimaru immediately changed direction. Suddenly stepped back, but the flame turned in the air and chased directly in the direction of Orochimaru. For almost one breath, the entire open space was covered by spiral flames. At the same time, the front end of the flame condensed into the appearance of a fire dragon. Chasing frantically, Orochimaru bites. However, Orochimaru was surprised by Sasuke's fire style. First of all, he didn't see when Sasuke released ninjutsu. Secondly, Sasuke's control over this ninjutsu made his scalp tingle. At the same time, the power of this fire style is not weaker than the general A-level fire style ninjutsu. It can even be said that it has touched the power of S-level ninjutsu. Orochimaru was extremely satisfied with Sasuke's fire style, which was comparable to S-rank ninjutsu. That's when Orochimaru looked at Sasuke greedily. Sasuke was moving fast. Pick up the shuriken on the ground while moving. Fire dragon explosion made an astonishing roar, but in the end it still missed Orochimaru and he dodged it. But in the next second Sasuke raised his hand and threw the shuriken in his hand. The shuriken spinning in the air has not yet been fired. Sasuke made a mudra with the other hand. Fire style, Phoenix fire technique. Groups of flames covered the shuriken, directly forming a new move. Wind Fairy Claw Red. Uchiha Itachi also performed this ninjutsu, equivalent to an enhanced version of Impatience fire technique. The speed of the flame is faster and the attack power is stronger. And Orochimaru could only dodge quickly. Getting hit is no joke. Continuous dodging, Orochimaru didn't notice that his position had been driven to the other side without knowing it. And now behind Sasuke as Dishonor, the moment the attack ends. Lightning flashed in Sasuke's eyes. Lightning style, super speed. Flash. Turning around in an instant and holding Dasna, who was fainted under the tree, Sasuke disappeared directly into the forest at an astonishing speed, leaving Orochimaru standing where he was, watching Sasuke, who disappeared in the blink of an eye like a bolt of lightning in the forest. What a clever calculation, is the fighting talent so strong, as expected of that man's younger brother.